Great news, everyone! The studio wants to make another film! Wow. Let's make magic. And that starts with the screenplay.
Something original?
No. We'll take an old story that was already creepy and make it a load creepier. Oh, get me Johnny Depp and my wife on the phone.
I can't ever not do that.
Costumes.
Wait. Spirals, stripes. I find something that is not black and I paint it black.
Incredible. Stacy, do you have any of that white makeup left over from our last movie?
Yep.
So, as the credits are rolling, we start with an elaborate tracking shot.
Yeah, I can do it in my sleep at this point.
That's it. Everyone is sleepwalking through their lives.
I'm gonna go take a
Okay, so the credits are done. Music kicks in. Danny Elfman, what have you got? Genius, your best yet. So,
greetings, Earthlings, and welcome. This is episode 15 of FTL Radio. With me on the line, as always, is Jacob, and I'm your host, Chris. We're here to talk to you today about some science fiction. So what do we got, Jacob?
All sorts of fun, cool stuff. Before we get started on that, I got to the Xbox One today.
Hell yeah! Why are we doing this? Let's play Destiny. No, come on.
Why? No. Why? Because I have to download a 800 megabyte series of updates, and for some reason my internet is behaving like a bitch today, and it's going wicked slow, so I need to go buy a long-ass Ethernet cable tomorrow.
Yes, you do, because Wi-Fi is not the answer yet.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, normally I get, what's funny is normally I'll get, 50, 60 megabytes per second download.
Yeah, but it's also relative to where you are in the room.
You've seen my apartment.
You're right, there's really not a lot of places you can go, but in terms of,
no,
it's probably closer, the modem is probably closer to your desk than it is to the TV.
Probably not. But the issue is that there's Jason's hardwired. Mm-hmm. Jason has another computer he's using right now. I have my laptop running. Victoria's got her phone running. So you've got all these things that are eating away at it. Mm-hmm. And it's a big update. So, and who the hell knows? Microsoft servers might be going slow right now. This is perfect time. This is prime time for everyone to be on their Xbox. So
prime time, but Microsoft has. They have good servers. They can handle this. But, it's definitely a possibility. Either way, this is irrelevant. What class are you going to play in Destiny?
I don't know. What are the classes?
Hunter, Warlock, Titan.
Titan sounds like my style of play.
So my main character right now is a Titan, but I have a Warlock that I'll level up with you if you make your Titan.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Why?
Because he's the only one I haven't leveled up yet. I have a level 22 Hunter and a level 24 Titan.
This game has been out for, 2 weeks? How do you have that much time on your hands?
Believe it or not, from 1 to 20, it's really not difficult. I got the game a month and a half late, too. So it's very... To get from 1 to 20 is very easy. Then once you hit 20, you got to start working to get levels.
Yeah, I was talking to Liz today. Oh, actually yesterday about it, and she was saying how Sean plays and how she's not allowed to play because she sucks at it. And
she's been pissing me off lately, but that's another story entirely. Because every time we play with Sean, it's like we're in the middle of this hardcore raid, and it's like Liz needs me to pet her back or something, or do something minuscule. Can't you see the importance of the situation?
Seriously. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, maybe the download will speed up while we're on the podcast. Maybe it'll be done. Who the hell knows? Or, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up and it'll be done.
Yeah, tell Victoria that if it finishes to start installing Destiny, because that takes a while too, and updating Destiny.
Yeah, stupid fucking updates.
And it's day one of the console. You're going to have to deal with it, but then you're not going to have to deal with it again.
Yeah. So anyway,
Science fiction.
Why don't you start us off, Chris?
Okay, so evidently at New York Comic Con this year, Marvel Comics announced that they're going to be doing a crossover for Secret Wars.
Okay.
So basically, Secret War was a comic book series that was out back in the mid-2000s.
Okay.
And it basically featured this alien species called the Skrulls, not Scroll, but Skrull, but pronounced the same way. Anyway, these Skrulls, these aliens, had the ability to mimic the appearance and everything else of another person, and to a general degree, to a less effective degree, the powers of a superhero. So they would invade and take over, and kidnap people or kill people and then take their bodies, and basically it made for a real interesting dynamic because you didn't know, oh my god, is Spider-Man a Skrull or is Captain America a Skrull or is he actually Captain America?
Right.
So I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing with this, though. If it's going to be sort of worked into the Avengers somewhere, or if it's going to, I don't know.
So it sounds like they're gonna. It's not just comics. This isn't just a comic book news. It sounds like some film sort of news, right?
Yeah, I mean, one would think it's already been done in comics, so
Yeah.
to announce that sort of the rehashing that would be, I guess, news, but not as big news as saying, okay, this is going to be coming to the big screen, which is frankly where Marvel is putting a lot of their money. I'm not as up to speed in comic books as some of my good friends, but one of my good friends who is really into comics says that ever since Disney took over, there's been a considerable dip in quality to the books that Marvel's releasing. They're pumping their money and they're pumping their resources into where the money is, the big screen. Comic books aren't as profitable.
Well, I do know. I read an article somewhere that suggested that Marvel was going to be cutting back significantly on the X-Men comics. And the reason was it doesn't want to create any more interest in X-Men because Fox owns that IP.
Yeah, that's when you get corporate-y and stupid.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is, and I hate that it is that.
But so yeah, no, this looks kind of cool. I have no idea really what's going to happen yet, but it should be interesting. It reminds me actually. Remember that show I told you about, Fringe?
Yes.
There's an element in that of the shapeshifters where they'll put this, and this is slightly different. They'll put a device in your mouth, and then they put it in their mouth, and then it basically sucks all the essence out of you, and they turn into you pretty much.
This sounds like the beginning of a porn.
Yeah, it's weird.
A lot of things being put in people's mouths.
Yeah. So anyway, that it's kind of cool. That's a great show. Again, we've talked about that a billion times.
Yeah, I still gotta. Actually, you know what? I'm looking for a new show on Netflix right now. I'm gonna start that.
Do it. I actually just started Blacklist.
How is it?
It's really, really good.
Really? Because every time I see like a network drama, I sort of dismiss it as a network drama.
God,
but
it's so good.
Well, I mean, and that ties into a little bit of science fiction because that is Ultron.
No, Blacklist is not Ultron.
Red Reddington, or whatever his name is the voice of Ultron.
Yeah. Sorry, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, no, you're right. No, but this show, man, this is not science fiction, and
no,
at
I know
all.
that.
But oh my god, this dude is a sociopath.
Yeah, I saw the pilot because it's Sony Pictures TV, and I had a copy of the pilot at work.
Oh, really?
And it was a light day. So that's all of Blacklist that I've seen, but it looks interesting. I should give that a shot. But Fringe first because that's priority right now.
Yeah. It's funny actually. We keep talking about Liz. I was talking to her about this show, and she said every time I hear James Spader say Lizzie, I get a chill.
Oh yeah, because he says that every 5 seconds, basically.
Yeah,
right?
seriously. So anyway, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
What else is interesting is that Blizzard is finally making is developing a new IP.
Okay, you're gonna have to walk me through this one.
So Blizzard Entertainment has announced a new IP called Overwatch. This is the first time in apparently 17 years that Blizzard has announced a new IP.
Well, the last new IP that I could think of, and I guess it's not even... no, I guess it is. It's not. It doesn't count. Because the last game that I considered that, but it's not, it would be StarCraft Ghost, which is in the StarCraft universe, but it was this was back in original Xbox days, and it sat in development hell for years. There were like gameplay demos, and people were really amped about it, trailers, and it was basically a Splinter Cell-esque game that took place in the StarCraft universe. But obviously nothing happened with it. It sat in development hell for years. What is this Overwatch?
So Overwatch is a multiplayer first-person shooter.
Blizzard doing an FPS? What?
Yeah. And basically, it's team-based multiplayer first-person shooter that pits players into battles of 6 versus 6. Now that's naturally very concerning for me because we're talking this new gen systems where, I could go throw Battlefield into my system and I could play against 63 other people.
Yeah, that's true.
So 6v6 sounds a little I don't know, but maybe the maps are small enough to justify it.
Well, and don't get hung up on the numbers because Battlefield works in a 64-player setting because of the kind of game that it is. I've played a lot of games that take place in relatively small areas that are perfectly fine. They're enjoyable and a lot of fun. I'm watching the gameplay trailer for this right now. It looks a lot like Team Fortress, which is a Valve game.
Yeah, I mean, right now there are only 2 modes for the game.
Okay.
One is Payload, a mode where players work together as a team to escort a highly explosive bomb. Obviously, we know that one. The second is a mode much like a MOBA, and it's called Point and Capture. You need to capture and defend points. I mean, this game is going to be a classic first-person shooter. Quite frankly, I am a little underwhelmed by this.
Yeah, unless they have some sort of a really good hook for it. I don't see how it's going to be any better than anything else. I mean, I'm looking at the trailer right now, and it's got, very cartoony kind of graphics, similar to, not as over-the-top stylized as Team Fortress, but definitely not live action or trying to be close to reality. It looks very out there. A lot of flying, robots, and stuff like that.
And that's fine, and I'm okay with that, but it's almost as if they're... And here's another thing, is I believe it's only being released on PC and OS X.
Yeah, that's kind of... I don't think Blizzard right now has a game that's out.
Oh, really?
I think
no,
they
I
have...
guess you're right.
Well, I think StarCraft. They might have put StarCraft on StarCraft 2.
No, I guess you're
consoles.
right. Yeah, they don't... They really are a computer kind of developer. But really, this just sounds to me like, oh my god, we have so much money in the bank because of World of Warcraft. What else can we make a lot of money on? Oh, I know, a first-person shooter.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm watching it. It doesn't look like really anything incredibly new. Like I said, the biggest thing that I could draw is if you've ever played Team Fortress 2 or any of the Team Fortress games, it looks a lot like that.
Right.
Different classes, different abilities, but the whole thing looks like a Pixar movie.
Mm-hmm. No, and yeah, that might be what it is. So yeah, I'm very, like I said, very underwhelmed by this. We'll probably never talk about it again. The only reason I brought it up is because it has what looks like robots and, like you said, flying, and it kind of looks sci-fi-y. But yeah, it's very cartoony and just completely unappealing to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll follow it, not closely, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Why?
Because, and you know what? Not because of the kind of game it was, but because of who's putting it out. If any other company were putting out this game, I would dismiss it in a heartbeat. But if Blizzard thinks that they could do something like this...
Oh, so because Blizzard gained your respect with games like Warcraft and StarCraft, so that they can venture into FPS?
It just means that Blizzard doesn't do something, historically speaking, without knowing that it's going to be a slam dunk. I don't think they've made a flop, or at least not one that I've ever played.
Yeah, but it's not that hard to make a flop. It's not that hard to prevent making a flop. Like, look, don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed playing the Warcraft games and the StarCraft games, but it's not that hard to prevent making a flop when your game is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, really. Here's the first thing, and here was... So their first, the Warcraft and StarCraft games, those were cool. Those were great. That was quote, revolutionary. Here's the first really big thing they did. It was World of Warcraft, and that took balls, because that was recognizing, where things were going.
Mm-hmm.
But that was made in 2004.
And it also was not the first of its kind by
Right.
any stretch of the imagination. It followed a formula, and it did it in a superior way and in a more addictive way than anyone else had in the past. But it certainly wasn't super original. It was just... I don't know. You know what? You're right. It's a first-person shooter. It's totally out of Blizzard's wheelhouse, but they're a company that have sort of garnered a bit of respect. So at the very least, I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Oh yeah, they've garnered a bit of respect for role-playing games. And look, they're great games. I loved playing StarCraft growing up. I loved playing Warcraft growing up. I did, but this company just does not seem like the kind of company like I'm not convinced at all that this is going to be anything other than a cash grab.
Oh, I'm also not convinced. But that being said, I'm not looking to buy it. I watched the trailer. It looks. I'm more interested in it than you are. Mm-hmm. That being said, I'm not very interested at all. Yeah. It does look very following sort of a theme. Yeah. But I also didn't really watch it intently. I don't really know exactly what's going on. So.
Yeah,
because basically, bottom line is because it's got the Blizzard name on it, I'm gonna look at it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna buy it necessarily, but I'm not gonna dismiss it offhand, which is what I would do probably if it was from another company.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm reading more about the game. Apparently, it kind of was an offshoot of a game called Titan, or a project name called Titan, which was going to be another MMO developed by Blizzard. And then after in September 2014, it was canceled. After 7 years of development.
Yeah, well, I mean it was a similar thing with StarCraft Ghost. I don't think they're going to put something out that they think is not going to sell. So if this makes its way through development hell, which it sounds like only the top tier of games that they think can. I mean, really, Diablo, Warcraft, and StarCraft are their 3 flagship franchises, and those sell trillions of copies no matter what because you put the name on it. But they're also quality games. They're
fine games. I mean, there's nothing earth-shattering about any of those games. I mean, there's nothing earth-shattering about a lot of the games that we have these days.
Yeah, well, that's the bottom line, is that the only truly original games are like indie games that are borderline unplayable because they're so out there.
Right. I mean, really, the only and it's happening to this game more and more, but the only game that really, no matter how many times you play through it, the different games, is still so original is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Which, unrelated note, but on that topic at the same time, that just came in today.
Did you get it? Is it in your house?
Yep, I got 5 on the Xbox One.
I'm just gonna steal it when you're done.
That's cool.
I don't know. Maybe I will get it because playing online could be fun. But I mean, I don't know if it's worth spending $60 to play that game online again.
I am going to sell my old copy, which is not going to get me anywhere near what I paid for it. I know that. But,
no, you'd be surprised. I think when I sold my I sold my GTA 5 for my 360. I got like $30 for it.
Wow. Okay, so if I get $30, then I'm thrilled because really, the first person mode is a game changer. I've always wanted to play that game in that mode, and the fact that they took time and put money into it, and everyone's saying that it's not like they just shifted the camera to the first person. They created thousands of new animations. They've really made it so that it is an immersive game in first person mode, and that's right there was a selling point for me. Then they said that your online character comes over. That was also a selling point for me because I had fun with the online multiplayer. And when it came out was right when the Xbox One was coming out. And I'm like, I really want this on the Xbox One. I know they're going to do it eventually, but right now I want to play it. So whatever. Bottom line is I got it. I just played the first mission in first person mode.
How was it?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I still got to tweak the controls because it still does the snap auto aiming. And if I'm gonna play it as a first person shooter, I want it to be a first person shooter. I want to have full control. I want to set the sensitivity. But it looks like all that functionality is in there. You just have to set it up.
Yeah, no, I mean it looks cool. I just don't know if it's worth $60 for first person.
Well, if I get $30 for my game, I paid $30 for it.
Well, yes, that's very true.
So
that's very true.
Which is a no-brainer for
me. Yeah.
Plus, I didn't buy NHL 15, which would have cost me $60. So that's one of my justifying things, even though it's totally unrelated.
Yeah, I almost bought Rise today.
Really?
Yeah, I just for some reason it just looks appealing to me only because it's about ancient Rome, and you know how obsessed I am with ancient Rome.
Yeah, I heard that it's kind of
It's kind of button mashing?
Yeah.
That's what I heard as well. So,
but I mean, it can't be that expensive now. It's been out for like a year and change.
It's so funny. It's been out for a year and change, and they still want $35 for it used.
Really?
Which means how much they want for it new.
Probably $40 because that's what GameStop does. Is they just drop $5 and they want you to pay. This is a different conversation going down.
Yeah.
the
Anyway, let's talk about some science fiction.
Yeah.
So moving right along, because I'm done talking about Blizzard because I think they're gonna fail.
Wow.
Or they'll succeed at making money, but it won't. It will be nothing at all innovative at all. It'll just be like, oh look. Anyway, so one of the things that we've noticed the past few weeks is that a lot of these old books are being turned into TV shows. Last week, remember we talked about Space Odyssey, the final one in the series, being turned into a show. John Scalzi, it's not an old book, but that's being his book, Old Man's War, is being turned into a show. The Sci-Fi Channel is really kicking ass with really trying to create a ton of different shows. Looks like HBO is trying to get involved now.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Apparently, Jonathan Nolan, Chris Nolan's brother, Chris Nolan is the director of Interstellar and Batman and Inception, and I can go on and on and on. Apparently, his brother is developing a HBO series trilogy. Well, not even trilogy. I don't even know if it's a trilogy or if it's a long show, multiple seasons, based on Isaac Asimov's Foundation novels. Now, we talked a little bit about the Foundation novels.
Go through it one more time because I've forgotten.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna just pull up like a quick little synopsis on them because they're interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them, by the way.
There's one in this this article here. I'll read it for you. For anyone not in the know, the Foundation novels were originally a trilogy by Isaac Asimov back in the 1960s, based on a character named Harry Seldon, a mathematician living in a galactic empire, who developed the science of psychohistory, which was a type of sociology mixed with math that allowed him to predict massive future events, such as the fall of the Empire and the decline of his civilization into a 30,000-year dark age. So he creates a foundation of artists and engineers with the goal of preserving his culture's collective knowledge and creating a new empire to replace the one that's about to fall. So there you go. That's sort of the 10,000 feet.
Yeah, no. So like it started off as a trilogy. Mm-hmm. Then he launched. Then he wrote a bunch of preludes, some prequels, all sorts of stuff. He kind of just kept building on the history of it, which is fine. I got no issue with that. And yeah, I mean, this kind of goes back to a theme that we've talked about so many times. It looks like science fiction is starting to be taken seriously again.
Yeah, I mean, it's the culture is becoming less reserved for the people that get wedgies in gym class and more mainstream. It's and you're seeing it with not just, I mean, granted, Star Wars has always been accessible to everyone, but even more obscure things like, and for whatever reason my brain is failing me right now, but the fact that all of these like reputable, like this was written back in the 60s, mm-hmm. and it's being looked on and said, oh well, let's make this into an HBO show. I mean, they're giving it the Game of Thrones treatment.
Yeah, I mean that's what they're doing, and there are some benefits to them doing this. One, it's not going to require waiting for some really, 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 really slow writer to finish his book.
Yeah, come on, George.
Yeah.
Finish that shit. I need to know what happens to. Oh, whoops! Now I'm gonna zip.
Zip, zip, zip. Mm-hmm. So that's obviously one thing. But two, it's well known. It's really well known, and a lot of people are into it. Now I have never read it. It's on my list. My list keeps growing longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, this podcast is not helping my list at all.
Yeah, it's on my list. It definitely sounds interesting because it's a galactic empire that spans the entire Milky Way. Mm-hmm. It's now going to fail, which is cool, I guess. But now, obviously, the Empire wants to prevent that, so they're going to do anything they can to prevent that, blah, 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 blah. You have war, probably. Yay, stuff.
Yay, stuff. They got to put that on the back of the book.
Yay, stuff.
Yay,
but,
stuff.
HBO is notorious for adding a lot of gore, violence, and sex to their stuff.
I'm fine with all three of those things.
Well, so am I. But like, I'm intrigued by this. I'm looking forward to the possibilities of this. Like, this could be like a grown-up science fiction show.
Well, and that's the thing is that we talked about sci-fi, the Sci-Fi Network, and FX bringing these shows, and FX is sort of edgier these days than other things, but HBO is the real deal.
Yep. Yep.
That's about as do what you want. It's HBO.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Just by saying those three letters in science fiction in the same sentence makes me very hopeful.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully, it'll be good. I have no idea when it's coming out though, but
yeah, well, I mean, right now it's just sort of an idea
yeah.
that, I mean, literally it's like he's already involved this I'm sorry, Jonathan Nolan. Jonathan Nolan? Yeah. He's already involved in Westworld, which is coming out on HBO. And he had an interview, and he said, "What was the one piece of science fiction you truly love and people don't know enough about?" And he's like, "Well, I fucking love Foundation." So I don't know if solid.
Who the hell
Foundation.
knows? Maybe it's never gonna come out.
Maybe this is just a rumor. I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, if they do it. Just because he can do anything he wants now. The Nolan brothers can pretty much do anything they want now.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, what else is Jonathan?
We'll see what
Nolan
happens.
done?
Well, Jonathan Nolan, he wrote the scripts for Batman.
Oh, okay. So he's
I'm pretty sure
he's not just a name.
No. He's more of a writer.
Oh.
So he's written Westworld. He's written. He was the creator of Person of Interest.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote Interstellar. He wrote The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. He wrote The Prestige. He wrote Memento.
Did he write Inception?
No.
Oh, that was Christopher Nolan. That's right.
Yeah. He also was director a couple times. He was in. He's
not just a fucker with a name. He's got chops.
Yeah, he's got chops.
Is really the question. The question I was fishing for is does this guy have chops? Is he going to do this well? Is he going to, just because his last name is Nolan doesn't mean he's a genius. But looks like maybe he is. So that's all well and good.
Yeah, no, he definitely has done some stuff. I mean, I guess the important thing to understand is he's been the co-writer on a lot of these things.
Yeah.
He's the co-writer with Chris Nolan on Memento, on The Dark Knight, on The Dark Knight Rises, on Interstellar. But something to keep in mind, Christopher Nolan hasn't done that much.
No, he really hasn't. But everything he has done has been amazing.
Gold.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. He did Memento.
Mm-hmm.
He was director of that. He did Insomnia.
I've never even heard of that one.
Right. Then he does this thing called Batman Begins.
Yep.
Then The Prestige.
Yep.
Then The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Then Inception.
Which is my favorite.
Then The Dark Knight Rises. And then Interstellar. Like, they haven't done that much, either of them.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the fact that he's only 34? No, 44.
Yeah, but you don't have to have a huge list of movies to be one of the top directors. I mean, how many movies does Spielberg have under his belt?
Oh my God. A shit ton.
Really? I thought that he,
No, Spielberg's done a lot.
Oh, okay.
I'll pull it up for you right now. It's got its own separate dedicated page on Wikipedia.
Does it really? For the movies that he's done?
Yeah.
52 credits I'm seeing. Going back to 1959 to his shorts.
Yep. He did 4. He did, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so never mind. I rescind that. He's definitely, I guess I just haven't seen most of them. Shame on me, huh?
The thing about it is, like, here are the movies he's done that you know. A, Jaws.
Mm-mm.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yep.
I have no idea what Amblin is, but that's what he named his studio off.
Okay.
I mean, his firm is like, it's like Amblin Productions, or I don't even know what the movie Amblin is, but, let's see, what else has he done? Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, all the
E.T.,
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Twilight Zone, The Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, more Indiana Jones, Hook, Jurassic Park,
Oh, he's
Schindler's List,
okay.
Saving Private Ryan. Like I could just go on. Like the
Well-
fact is, the dude is kind of like a Christopher Nolan. He only does these massive films.
Well, and that's sort of the point that I was getting at, is that everything that he puts his name on, although I'm looking at this list on IMDb and there's all these movies I've never heard of, but most of them, are very. He's Spielberg. I don't think I need to back him up, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't need to back him up. But I mean, keep in mind what the first thing you see on IMDb is what he's produced.
Yeah.
If you go just what he's directed, I mean, I can go through these movies and go, yep, I know that, yep, I know that, yep, I know that, yep, 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 yep. I know here's the list that I know. Lincoln, Warhorse, Adventures of Tintin, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Munich, War of the Worlds, The Terminal, Catch Me If You Can, Minority Report, Artificial Intelligence, Saving Private Ryan, Amistad, The Lost World, and that's just in 1997.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's done some shit. And I think that's what Christopher Nolan's probably going to wind up becoming.
Yeah.
Which, kudos to him.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I have no idea if there will ever be a Nolan created foundation, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, I hope it happens. I like the idea of seeing sci-fi on HBO, and that would be great.
Yeah. So, moving right along, this is actually not. Well, it is science fiction related, but it's not actually science. Well, anyway, Vice magazine. If you've never heard of Vice, Vice is a huge media company that actually launched in Canada. And it used to be like this underground, punky like magazine, and it has since grown into this multi-billion-dollar conglomerate.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge thing. They've got Vice.com, Vice News, Vice Books, Vice Music, Vice Film. The kind of content they do is they will go and infiltrate a cartel.
Mm-hmm.
And they will ride along with the cartel while the cartel is, distributing cocaine.
Ah.
And film that. Like,
so real hard news shit.
Oh yeah, like really investigative news.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's some stuff right there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting. So anyway, so that's Vice. They apparently, using their motherboard site, are launching a science fiction magazine called Terraform.
Ooh.
Terraform, they're going to post one news story a week.
Okay.
It's going to be all original stories. But I think what they're going to be doing is they're going to be publishing stories based on what's going on right now. So, for example, an example that I saw, described when I read many of the articles about this is if everyone's talking about drones.
Yep.
They're going to try and find a story about drones.
Ah, so they want to be topical.
Right. If they're talking about, like one I've always, a story in the back of my mind that I've always worked on, if vaccines become a big thing.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I have a zombie story where because people don't vaccinate their children turn into zombies. Yeah. And things like that. Like that's the kind of stuff they want to do. And it's, I looked at the site, because I write science fiction. So I thought, all right, cool. Maybe I could submit my stuff. Maybe. Who the hell knows? They want near future stuff. So obviously a space opera, we're not really interested in. They only want, I think, 2,000 words or 4,000 words, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I guess that the goal then is for them to, because when you said magazine, I thought that maybe they'd have writers in house that were writing this stuff, but I guess the goal is to showcase independent science fiction writers.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking to. Anyone can submit stuff. They want to become to another place for you to read science fiction, which is cool because that's how a lot of science fiction authors got started.
Yeah.
Was publishing on these in these science fiction magazines that they became very unprofitable and they kind of went away. There are still quite a few out there, but so this is kind of cool. Like I could submit a 2,000 word piece, get paid 20 cents a word. That's $400. And hey, I'm published on Vice.
Yeah, and you have eyes that are reading your content.
Right. Which is cool. And, I don't think people can leave comments and you can interact. So it's kind of cool. But this kind of goes, once again, I keep saying this, I talked about this the last topic we just talked about. This is showing that science fiction is kind of having a resurgence.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are interested. People want to read this speculative fiction. They want to kind of stretch their mind a little bit.
I think people have always been interested. People are just less shameful because it's now a community experience. Everyone can be nerds online.
It's it's kind of funny. We both got bullied for being nerds.
Yep.
And now it's like the thing.
Right? We showed up to the party like so many years early.
Right. They say being fashionably late is fine, but Jesus, like, I wear glasses and I got teased for it, and now really it's fashionable to wear glasses.
Yep.
I had an old friend. I don't talk to her anymore. And you know who I'm talking about. There's no need to drop names.
Yep.
And she was your typical popular girl. And she was adamant that she wasn't, but she was your typical popular girl. And she would put on her glasses and go, "Does this make me look nerdy enough?" And I'm like, "Really? Like, really? Do you even know what that means?"
Yeah, she doesn't. That's the thing. She doesn't at all.
Like, great. I'm so happy that you're not, that this is cool. I always believed that being a nerd was cool and that it would come back to, be a benefit to me. But really, like, talk about someone else fighting all the wars and then you just kind of coming in and reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, there's no need to jump off on that tangent. It's just, like, obviously I'm excited because, yay, pro nerd. And if you and I are pro nerd, then someone we see in high school who knows us could be pro nerd. And then that kind of filters down to middle school pro nerd, then elementary school pro nerd. And if that means kids aren't getting teased anymore for being nerdy, then that means people aren't getting teased for being intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all good, So I'm obviously not against the pro nerd culture. It's just kind of funny to me.
Well, yeah, it's just one of those ironic things if you look back, and I mean, you can't be pissed about it because that's just a waste of time. But you just look and you laugh and you say, "Really, that's popular now?" All right.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Thick rimmed glasses for the win.
There you go.
So yeah, Vice. Go to their motherboard site. You can check out Terraform. They've got some cool stuff. I haven't read any of the stories yet, but 2,000 words. That's I do that faster. I take longer to make a peanut butter sandwich than read that.
Yeah.
So, last week we talked a little bit about Star Wars, and by a little bit I mean a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I had a theory that the first teaser trailer wasn't going to be out until like the first quarter of 2015.
Yes.
Apparently, it could be released at any point. Like, it's ready to go.
Really?
Yeah, according to Badass. So I found the article on IGN, and they're crediting Badass Digest. The first trailer for the Star Wars sequel will debut within the next 4 to 5 weeks.
Wow.
They suggested
which means it's going to leak in 2.
Yeah. So possibly attached to the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, I'm seeing that.
Okay.
I'm seeing that movie. Or it'll probably just be released on Disney's ABC. They'll probably release it that way. Because, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, this could be coming out soon. Apparently the trailer is 1 minute in length.
Okay. Pretty standard for a teaser.
It will feature flashing images of the main leads.
Pretty standard for a teaser.
Set to the Force theme played on woodwinds.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm excited to that. Yeah, okay.
The only dialogue in the trailer will come towards the end.
Standard for a teaser.
As the orchestra reaches its peak. And a female voice says, "Wake up."
Oh, yeah, because The Force Awakens.
Oh, my gosh.
Man, we're banging on all cylinders now.
I know. And then the trailer will conclude with the Star Wars The Force Awakens title card appearing on the screen as the Millennium Falcon fires its blasters flying towards the camera.
You know what? Can we pause for like 10 minutes?
Go clean up. Go clean up. It's okay.
Can't even handle. Like, this is just the description of the trailer.
I know. I mean, just wait until it's the actual one.
Oh my god! Just can we stop talking about it? This is gonna get really uncomfortable really quickly. Everyone's excited about it. Star Wars trailer. 2 weeks it's gonna leave. Maybe Mockingjay. Whatever. Moving on. Oh,
Yeah.
that was tough.
You know, all things considered, the Hunger Games movies are actually pretty decent.
I saw the first one, and I just don't like the style of it. And it's not even that I don't like the story. The story's fine by me. I just don't. I feel like it feels like a Twilight movie. It's clearly made to cater towards that audience.
So I saw the last Twilight movie.
Okay.
Victoria put it on because, she was looking for something mindless to watch. And I looked at her and I said, look, we can watch this, but you have to understand something. The only way I'm able to get through these kind of movies is if I mock them.
Okay.
While watching it. So we watched it, and she said, oh, look, the big battle scene's going to come up. And it was kind of an interesting little battle scene where vampires are throwing themselves at each other and wolves are doing things. So, I mean, I've seen that movie, so I know what that movie is. That movie's dumb.
Yes.
That movie sucks.
Indeed it does.
I'm sorry. Kristen Stewart, or whatever the hell her name is, she just does not have talent.
Fact.
Okay. And whatever his name is, Pattinson, or...
Yeah, that guy.
He's all right.
Whiny vampire number 2.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. But yeah, he's annoying as well. I think he'll have a better career than she will. But moving to Hunger Games, that shit is not fake. Like that, while it's not so like this is the future, it is a dystopian society. Not unto like the idea of what dystopian societies could be like in the real world.
Yeah. And that's why I like the concept. I like the plot. I enjoy the plot. The style of the movie just put me off.
Yeah, no, I mean, the second movie's pretty good. Obviously they're breaking up the third one into 2. The second one, you get Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, that is his last movie, if I'm correct.
No, it's not. Actually, his last movie... I just realized it. I think, actually, I could be wrong. Actually, I am wrong, because the other one's on Amazon, so obviously this is his last movie. His last movie will be Mockingjay Part 2. The movie I thought was his last movie was A Most Wanted Man, which is like a spy movie. I'm going to watch that, so anyway.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, give it a watch. I would give it a watch, just because it's not bad.
Well, I watched the first one. Like I said, the plot I enjoyed a bit. The style kind of put me off. If you're saying the second one is worth a watch, I'll watch it.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the second one. The second one is the first one, just with more drama.
Teen drama?
No.
Good.
Like oh
actual
my God.
drama. Like,
oh my God, people are dying around me and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dark story. And
oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like the movie was too bright, maybe.
Now, no, the second one is dark.
Okay.
And all things considered, she, by the way, is phenomenal.
I love Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, she is phenomenal.
I have nothing against Jennifer Lawrence.
She is fun. Unlike Kristen Stewart, who has no talent, Jennifer Lawrence is phenomenal.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, I just need to get that because I love her movies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which one. She's just good in it.
Yeah, I mean, she's shown her diversity as well. She's all over the place.
Yeah. So anyway, this weekend I did a couple things.
Okay.
I watched Snowpiercer with my mom. I went to see my mom.
Snowpiercer.
Yeah, Snowpiercer was this direct-to-video, simultaneously being in theaters movie.
Okay.
And it's got a decent cast. It had Chris Evans, Ed Harris, Octavia Spencer, Jamie Bell, etc. It was a decent cast. Basically, it's a play on what happens when global warming goes bad.
Okay.
And, so the world freezes. Everything is frozen. So the only way to stay alive is you're basically on this train, a massive train that just travels the globe.
Okay.
Over and over and over again. And it goes around this entire strip of track. Once a year, it goes through the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And what this movie is hardcore 99% 1%.
Okay.
Like it's class warfare at its finest. And basically you've got Chris Evans, who basically he's in what's called the tail of the train, and they don't want to be there. They want, good stuff.
Yeah.
And as you go forward, it's richer and richer and richer, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's so it was interesting. I'll give you that. My mom, when she was watching it, she looks at me and she goes, "I feel like I'm watching Willy Wonka."
Really?
Well, it's the characters are. I could see a mix of two things: a bit of Willy Wonka, because I won't reveal why, but I think once you get to the end, you'll realize why that opinion was there. A bit of Willy Wonka and a lot of bit of Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp.
So you're saying, whatever the guy's name, I can't think of the guy who directed those movies. Someone directed both of those movies.
No, the director of this was Bong Joon-ho.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying, let's say Johnny Depp, Alice in Wonderland. What movie? Help me out here. I cannot remember the name of the director of those movies.
Oh, I have no idea.
It's like on the tip
Tim
of my
Burton.
tongue. Tim Burton. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Tim Burton. He's a creep. He's a weird dude.
So basically, you're saying it's Tim Burton.
Well, it could be Tim Burton if it was Tim Burton.
But you're like you said Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or whatever, and
well, no, this had a Willy Wonka feel to it.
Okay.
Like I'm leaving this to you. You're the future. Like that weirdness to it.
Oh, got it. So not like a style thing.
Right. And then at the same time, it was like really just the characters were so out there.
Yeah.
And it was weird, man. It was some trippy ass shit. So anyway, so it was okay. I was glad when it was over.
Oh, well, so that means it's not okay. That means it was kind of weak.
I mean, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Let's be completely frank here. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And Chris Evans, he's not all that bad as an actor.
Yeah.
So he's able to carry it, and he did carry it, and it had the grittiness that was required, but then it was so comical at the same time. So you have these guys who are getting completely obliterated with guys with hatchets, like hardcore gore, and then the next scene is this woman with like massively buck teeth, like you're all doomed. Like what?
Okay.
Like it was weird.
It seems out there.
I mean, look, if you can get it for $1 or $2, give it a watch, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. I guess something else I did this weekend was I finished Tarkin.
Oh right, we were just talking about that. That was quick.
We talked about that. Yeah, we talked about it last week. I wound up reading it.
Well, what do you think?
You know what? People are stupid with their opinions. This book was good.
Okay.
I mean, it was good for a few reasons. One, it actually has action in it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because we were just talking last week about how action was sort of not going to be a component.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more of the politics of things, but apparently, and I didn't know this, but like Grand Moff Tarkin was raised in a tremendously militaristic society.
Ah.
Like he turns 14 years old and he's taken out into the wilderness with his uncle and he has to survive.
Sounds very Spartan.
Oh yeah, like it was like he was a Spartan, like seriously, and he completely like revitalizes his planet, which is called Ariadu, and like it was a seriously like this dude isn't joking around. Like he's intense, and he's in charge of trying to get the Death Star built, and there's always issues and all that, and he works a lot with Darth Vader, and he and Darth Vader have a developing working relationship. So it was good. I was pleased with it.
Okay. I mean, I know that last week we sort of had some speculation on it. We read those reviews, but there were mixed reviews. A lot of people said that it was good, but there were some people that were sort of bashing it at the same time.
Well, I'm there right now. It got 4 out of 5 stars.
That's generally considered a very good score.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is, let's be real about this. Grand Moff Tarkin is a bad guy.
Yes, he is.
Darth Vader is a bad guy. Now, for most of this story, what you're doing is you are in the eyes of Grand Moff Tarkin, or and they are trying to get Tarkin's ship back from these dissenters. Mm-hmm. So for the most of the book, you're like, well, how who do I root for? Do I root for the dissenters? Do I root for Tarkin?
Yeah, well, it sounds like it sort of has that Darth Bane thing to it, in that he's going against people that are considered the good guys.
Yeah,
and you don't know who to root for, the good guys or the good guy as he's been made, as he's been presented to you as Grand Moff Tarkin.
Right. So yeah. Anyway, it was good. I liked it. It's not going to be like your other Star Wars-y books with a lot more action. There's a lot more dialogue and not so much like stormtroopers are going crazy in war and blah, 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 blah. But my only complaint was that the book was $11.84 for Kindle, and my thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
But yeah, no, I definitely think it was definitely worth it. I mean, if you like Star Wars, if you're really a Star Wars person, you like the understanding of Star Wars and the history of Star Wars and the universe of Star Wars, it's the kind of book for you.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a slightly less deep, more blaster-oriented book,
if you only care about the movies, it's probably not for you.
Right. So yeah, no, it's cool. But yeah, I learned one other thing.
Let's hear it.
Apparently, there are whispers. Now, this could just be complete joking on the guy who did. He didn't. What's the guy's name? I didn't send this to you to talk about. I'm Googling it right now.
I can tell. I can hear the sound of your Googling.
All right, so director A.J. Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
He's the director of The Better Angels and the Tree of Life. He seems to be in talks to direct a Star Wars spin-off. He did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And
is that what AMA stands for?
Yeah, Ask Me Anything.
Oh my God, the dots just got
mind?
Connected. Oh man, I've always heard, yeah, it's a Reddit AMA. I'm like, I guess that's a Q&A session with someone.
Ask Me Anything.
All right.
At least that's what I think it means. I think it's what it means.
It is. I'm not looking it up. It is.
Okay. So anyway, someone asks him, The Better Angels is a great film, and I can't wait for the world to see it. Is there any truth to the rumor you will be directing a spin-off Star Wars film? He replies, talking about it, not able to say a lot yet.
Wow.
He then replies, it gets better. He then replies again, it will focus on Mace Windu.
Oh my God, really?
Right. So,
he doesn't want to. He can't talk about it, but
he can tell us that.
But he can tell us that it's going to focus on Mace Windu.
Right. That could be one of two things: A, he's being a dick.
Yeah.
And just playing around with us, or B, it's actually going to happen.
Okay. So if it does happen, is there any way that they wouldn't get Samuel L. Jackson? And then the second question is, if they do get Samuel L. Jackson, is the story that Mace Windu survives?
Well, that's the interesting thing, is I've heard two possible opportunities for this. One, it's a bit more of an origin story. Well, for three possibilities. One, it's an origin story.
Okay. So like he's younger, and that way you can cast a different person.
Right. Two, it takes place during the Clone Wars.
Okay. That would be
tough. That's the case. Samuel L. Jackson's in.
Yeah, but now he looks 10 years older because he is 10 years older.
Yeah, but they can fix that.
That's true, but I'd rather whatever. Go on.
They can easily fix that up. The dude, he still looks.
He looks fine for his age. If they wanted to make him look young, they can make him look younger.
Right. So that's number two. Or three, Mace Windu never actually died.
3 is interesting.
Well, think about it. We never actually see his body.
No, you just see him blasted out a window. Yeah, it's right. and the assumption is made that he's dead.
You're telling me that a Jedi Master that strong, that powerful,
with buddies. Don't forget, he had buddies.
Well, we will talk about that in 1 second. Yeah. But you're telling me this Jedi Master, who is literally one of the best swordsmen
Yeah.
in the Jedi Council, but probably one of the strongest of the Force as well, isn't able to, even after being electrocuted, isn't able to, like, put a Force shield around himself.
Well, well, I mean, he was caught off guard in the scene, if I remember correctly.
That means nothing to me.
You're right, because
He's
Jedi
caught off
and
guard.
blah, blah, blah.
He gets his hands cut off. That's fine. But Brohan can still. I'm sorry.
No. I'm merely playing devil's advocate at that.
No,
point.
and that's fair. Now, go ahead.
Well, I mean, and in terms of story and plausibility wise, if there's any time to start laying low, it's basically that point.
No, it definitely is. But then what it does is if he did survive that, it does create a very interesting opportunity. Like, okay, he's not in any of the literature after the fact.
Yeah.
So does he literally just go, peace out, bitches?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got some splaining to do at that point, but that's sort of, I guess, where we'd see it go, if that theory is the correct one.
Right. Now, let's talk about that scene, the showdown on Coruscant.
Okay.
Let's talk about that for a second, because that makes me angry.
Yeah, me too. And that was really one of my biggest complaints with the movie. Period.
Like, that makes me angry.
Yeah.
4 Jedi, I think, go, right?
From the council.
Right. All from the council. We're talking Kit Fisto.
Yep.
We're talking
Plo Koon, I think, was there too.
No, Plo Koon was in
Oh, you're right. He was taken out in the Order 60.
Yeah, he was flying, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's Agent Kolar.
Mm-hmm.
There's Saisi Tin.
Yep.
And then there's Mace Windu.
Yeah.
All right.
Which him by himself would be okay.
Right. So you got four dudes, 4 really good dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that Darth Sidious, who, by the way, doesn't get to train regularly because he has to hide the fact that he is, in fact, the Emperor, the Dark Lord of the Sith, he's Darth Sidious, that he has to, really be careful. That B, his focus is not on lightsaber battles, but instead is on the power of the Force. You're telling me he can strike down 3 dudes?
Yeah. 3 dudes who were ready for it.
Who are ready for it?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think you're going to find a lot of people on the opposite side of this issue. That scene was a little ridiculous.
It was. Like, I would have been so much happier if it was just Mace Windu goes and he's like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And, because Mace Windu beats the living shit out of him. Like, the living daylights out of him.
Yeah.
Like, look, yes, Mace Windu is considered the best.
Yeah, in terms of swordsman at that time in Star Wars lore, Mace Windu is the swordsman.
Right. I think followed by maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi. Actually,
at that point he wasn't, because he was still just a knight at that point, right?
No, by the time.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
No, I think actually it's true. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi becomes one of the best swordsmen in the entire, Jedi Council, which is why he's able to beat Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. No, that is right. Yeah.
But basically, you're telling me that Mace Windu.
I used to know the name of it too. He had the special fighting style because he was all about the defense.
Who? Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan. Because there are a bunch of fighting styles with the lightsaber, and Obi-Wan's all about the defensive style. So he's all about parries and counters and letting his opponent do the most damage to himself.
Well, that's the form of jujitsu.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is the combat like that. So anyway, the different styles. I'm just see if I can pull them up. Maybe I can't pull them up. Let's see. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Form 1 is Shicho.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone learns that one. Form 2 is Makahashi. Or Makashi. Form 3 is Soresu.
I think that's his, right?
I don't see his name mentioned in it. Number 4 is Ataru.
Okay.
And that's actually what Yoda used.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Xian Jingso.
I was right. Form 3, Soresu is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just looked it up.
Soresu?
Yep.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I don't see his name in here, but doesn't mean it's not there. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, then there's Juyo. There's a lot of different stuff. Mace Windu. and Sora Bulk, the two creators of Vapad,
Yes.
which I guess is the insane one.
The most difficult of the traditional lightsaber forms, both physically and emotionally. Rather than ridding themselves of emotions, practitioners of Form 7 channel them into the fight, attacking with chaotic, furious, and unpredictable moves to catch their opponents off guard.
Right. So anyway, like I understand that they needed to kill off, all the Jedi, but it was not the right way to do it.
Yeah, it was a poorly plotted out scene, and you're not going to hear me argue with you on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, and they were all like, oh. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the moral of the story is interesting. I would love a Mace Windu story. I would love it if it had Samuel L. Jackson in it. I think Samuel L. Jackson would do it. Samuel L. Jackson just does movies. Like, the dude just does everything.
Samuel L. Jackson is game for anything. What is in your wallet?
I mean, and it's funny, like, do you know how many movies he's been in?
Every movie.
He's been in 195 movies.
I do not bet an eyelash at that. I believe that 100%.
And did you know that they're thinking of making a Nick Fury movie?
I did not, but it also doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, basically, here's the description.
He's a strong enough character.
Oh, yeah. A daring amateur boxer from Hell's Kitchen is recruited by the Army for some top-secret assignments. He soon is promoted to captain, where he puts together the first attack squad, a group of elite soldiers who carry out elite missions. Excuse me. So, yeah, it looks cool. Anyway, I would love that movie.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. So anyway, we had more to talk about, but I'm just gonna kind of wrap it up. So
we are over an hour at this point.
Yeah. Now, granted, the first few minutes were just you and I talking for no reason.
Yeah, that's what.
But,
well, whatever.
Anyway, so that's what, episode 15?
Episode 15. But actually, before we break, just real quick, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. But Operation, what the hell was it called? Operation Rosetta, or the Rosetta Project. I'm sorry, to land a spacecraft on a comet. I'm sure y'all heard about it. It was successful. It happened. Mission accomplished. We're on the comet, taking pictures, learning shit about space. I just wanted to sort of, follow up on that. We did it.
We did it. I can't believe we did it. We did it.
America. I mean, actually, I think it was Britain that did it, but whatever.
I think it's the world. Like,
yeah, it's a humanity accomplishment at this point. So,
yeah.
America.
Yeah. Such a dick. So anyway, thank you very much for listening to the 15th episode of FTL Radio. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, / FTL Radio for both of them. If you have any content that you'd like us to review, we'd love to. We would love to read it or watch it or listen to it or whatever. Email it to us at info@ftlradio.com. We are on iTunes and Stitcher. 5 stars, please.
Yes.
And words. Tell us we're awesome. Or if you think we suck, don't tell us. Please.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Be kind. You know what Mama said? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
That's not what I do. But anyway. So thank you very much for listening. That's 15 episodes. And we will be back next week.
15 episodes. We out.